Welcome to the Industry Born podcast. I'm Colin Reichart, your host, and today we'll be covering almost anything related to cannabis. Thanks again for joining the Industry Born podcast. Next time you're at the GreenBroz website, you can use the promo code IBP5 for an additional 5% off of your shopping cart, or mention the Industry Born podcast to your sales representative for additional discounts. There's suspense, right? As we count down and get started.
The numbers keep going. I'm like, okay, smile.
Yeah, smile, right? Yeah. Well, you'll forget all about it in a minute, right? You do these all the time, don't you?
Yeah. I definitely try to keep, keep the conversation around, cannabis tourism events and everything, just to keep people, interested and educated around that for sure.
Right. So, I mean, that's so when we met, what do we meet in, I'm thinking back now because my brain hurts, but we met in,
8 to 10 years, long time ago.
Yeah, no, right. It was because I was just in the El Cajon shop and we had just kind of gotten in there, I think. So yeah, it would have been 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now look at us.
Everybody knows what I do and what I've been doing, but so when we met, you came out and you were doing at that time you were kind of doing cannabis news.
Yep.
Yeah, and you had just started your cannabis news kind of company at that point.
Yeah.
And what was that? Is that you still have that company?
No. So yeah, it was Direct Cannabis Network, and it was about
Right.
entrepreneurs, startups, and tech. No, I tried to keep it for 6 years. We had the momentum. We really had the momentum, but trying to build a revenue model as a media company, but trying not to do like pay to play, but still trying to make, I don't know, it was hard. It was really hard to
Yeah.
try to build a media company for me,
Yeah.
and the team. But I learned a lot. We all learned a lot, but I learned a lot about definitely building a team, a leader, me as a leader, what I needed to work on, and two, just revenue streams, trying to
Yeah.
figure that out.
It's so huge, and I think that that's something that people don't really pay attention to. You have to have a product, but you also have to have a revenue model around what you're doing, man. Otherwise, it's like, what the hell's going on? Um, and I think that because I was so interested in it because I love media. I mean, that's one of my things. My passion is like, I think I told you this then, but I mean, I love it. We were talking about doing that, and I had brought in some people initially to do that, and actually that's why I ended up hiring Marco because he has so much Hollywood experience and production experience, and I was like, we're gonna do this, and like, holy shit, man, that is a business all of its own in a completely foreign territory. I was in the same boat. Like, how do you get this to make money?
Yep.
How do I get people to see what I'm doing? Like, I'm spending money. How do I get people to see what I'm actually doing? And
Yeah.
then capture that information. So, when we first met, you were doing that business and you were working on that, and then you kind of transitioned away, and now I think at that time, were you involved with Women Grow?
I wasn't involved with Women Grow. I attended a couple Women Grow events,
Mm-hmm.
but no, I wasn't involved like as a chapter leader or anything like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know that that was the whole time that I had started getting, or the company had started getting in, because most of my at that time, Lise Bernard and a couple of the other
Yes.
women who worked for me were getting involved in doing all those conferences, and then we were trying to figure out how to sponsor that organization and stuff like that. But anyway, I couldn't remember if you were a part of that. But
No.
so tell me more about what's happening since
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to go backwards and talk about, because what we did was, so as you were mentioning the media company, it was our show called Inside Out. And we went to the El Cajon facility
Yeah,
and you guys gave us a whole walkthrough and rundown. It was one of my favorite episodes. Like, it was just so cool, just getting that insight,
it was a lot of fun.
yeah, it
It was
was
a
a
lot of
lot of
fun. Was it your sister was interviewing me, right?
Yeah, she was,
She
yeah,
was so
exactly.
nervous.
She had great personality. She was good. She was trying to figure it out. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
perfect because that's, you want the audience to understand. If you don't know,
yeah,
they're not going to know. So she was asking
right.
the questions like to make sure she understood, which was
Yeah.
perfect.
No, it was fun. I remember her just being like, kind of hesitant, and it was our first one, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
It
And
was.
I was like, okay, well, why don't we go do this? And
Yeah.
I, I've been through it a couple times at that point, but she was great. I remember that well. It was a lot of fun. That shop was the beginning of the beginning of our days, man, the beginning of our time as a company, and now we're here in Vegas and
Yeah.
50,000 square feet and like what the hell?
I'll have to come visit that one once next
Yes,
time I'm in
you
Vegas.
do. Yes,
Yeah,
please,
that's
please,
amazing.
please.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, so after that, we had 6 years running with Direct Cannabis Network. And it was kind of really a pivotal time in my own journey too, because, once you make that decision to close your company down, I really lost myself. I was like, I felt like who am I? Like I felt
yeah,
like DCN was me.
yeah,
And so it was a kind of a hard transition, but what aligned was I ended up taking the CMO position and co-founder position for a tech company called EventHi, and
yeah,
we are similar to Eventbrite. We cater to cannabis events. We provide ticketing and sponsorship tools for cannabis event organizers, and it was just the perfect alignment because the mission and values, bringing they want to keep the heart in the industry, keeping the
hmm,
culture alive, bringing people together. Those are all things that really vibed with what my mission and values are for this plant,
yeah.
and so that was the next journey, and I'm still on it, and we survived COVID, so that was another good one. Like we've made it through.
Well, that's awesome. I think that for me, like when I saw you actually pop up on Event High, I wasn't sure if it was your venture because I just follow everything else. I'm so wrapped up in what I do. I
Yep.
get I kind of like checking things out, and then of course your face pops up. I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder what she's up to, what's she doing, and how the business is going. And obviously, to see you all the time
Yeah.
because I see your face all the time and all your posts that you guys do. I'm like, God, they're killing it. So it's great for you to be in it, and it just seems like a very uh, you seem like a great ambassador for it. Like your energy is great on it, and you seem really into it. So that's why I was like, it's got to be her continuation of her company, but it is
The next
a
venture,
continuation
right?
of your mission. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been able to, obviously we were impacted with the COVID landscape. We were
Mhm.
actively in like 45 states at the time. So just we saw like cancellation, postpones, refunds. Like we didn't, to be honest, we didn't know if we were gonna have enough money in the bank. Like we were like,
Yeah.
we're done. We think we're done. Um, but honestly, COVID really made us realign with like what we were trying to do. Looking back at the revenue streams, what other ways
Mhm.
can we monetize and build revenue? And it really helped us as a company. We're still a lean company. We've been a lean company, but I think that was also what helped us make it through. And
Yeah.
now we're slowly starting to expand again. We're still being strategic because it's still up and down. You don't know where we're
Yeah.
at sometimes with
Well, COVID was
everything.
a great lesson. I think for us,
Yeah.
the year of COVID wasn't such a great lesson because I mean, things were great. It was one of our like a bumper year for us. We did phenomenally well. It was the year after COVID, the second
Okay.
year of COVID, that really, and we're seeing that across actually industry, across the industry, our sector anyway. And we're also seeing that I think across the industry from the production side of cannabis. The markets are way down in a lot of areas. There's a lot of pressure from inflation and increased costs, and everybody's in this. Everybody's. But so what my point is, like, yeah, that was a great lesson, a great opportunity to go. Well, wait a minute. Um, if I'm dependent on this and this isn't going to be here, I better freaking get my shit together, man. Otherwise,
Exactly.
I'm not going to be here. What am I going to do then? And so, yeah, we found the same thing. I mean, we're expanding into other markets as a manufacturing company and stuff like that just because of that. You just have to look at the thing and go, well, I have capability. Let's make sure that I can continue to work and take care of the people that I've committed to in
Yeah.
my company. You guys have a company, you have a bunch of people. You have to kind of figure that out. Otherwise, you know, what kind of a work environment do you create if it's unstable? So anyway,
Exactly. Well, and that was the thing. We didn't want to let anybody go. So like as founders, we made our own decisions to make to impact us personally, but it was better for the team. We didn't want to change that morale. We did what we could to keep everybody on board. And so that was really, really big. We wanted to keep the morale up because we knew
Yeah.
coming out of it, if we survived, like that would make us stronger together. Them seeing, us all come together during a time when we didn't know what was the future of our company, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And to come out of it, I mean, you come out a little bit more wary and a little bit smarter than you went in. And I mean, that's how it works, right? You survived, so you obviously learned.
Yeah.
But that's great. And what's this, the Blunt Brunch, which I see like all the time?
Yeah. So that is another a new venture that I launched with my business partner Parisa. So we met in San Diego when I lived there. This past year and a half now, I moved to Arizona. It was definitely more for a personal, need, just for a variety of reasons, but it also was a great move for business. And
Yeah.
it
Great
led
move
me
for business.
yeah. It led me to connect with also, as I mentioned, Parisa Rad, and we were talking. I was just like, hey, I would love to meet, trying to put myself out there. I'd love to meet more women. And we were like, well, let's do something. Let's grab brunch. And so we both invited some people that I knew in Arizona that she knew. And it was very organic. We all had these
Yeah.
women that came together for brunch. We had these great conversations, like real conversations. And we all left and we were getting messages of like, we need to do that again, and that
Wow.
was kind of just like,
You gave me
okay,
chills right there. That's exciting. Like, yeah.
yeah,
Good for
like,
you.
and
Yeah.
we got on the phone and we're like, this was amazing, we need to make this happen. And so it just began. It's called Blunt Brunch. It's, we don't have it's not focused around cannabis consumption.
Yeah.
Yes, we all consume cannabis, but, the focus is about blunt conversations, bringing women executives together to have those hard conversations or even share accomplishments
Sure.
with each other. And yeah, Arizona, we really were able to kick it off in Arizona. We did something big during MJ BizCon last year.
Yeah.
And now this year we've actually changed it up. We're doing nationals, so we have 4 national events each quarter. We go to a different state and host a big event for about 250 women in the industry to come empower, collaborate, and connect. And now we actually have women. We're allowing them. We're not allowing. Sorry, they are signing up to become co-hosts in different cities, and they
That's
host their
great.
own mini socials monthly for about 25 women.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I was wondering that's why I asked about the Women Grow, right? What the evolution was, because every time I see the Blunt Brunch, I see, it's you with all of these women, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I didn't know if that was an evolution of that or a movement outside of that, but that's great. So you're talking about women who are cannabis business people
Yep.
participating from a business perspective. You're
Yeah.
talking about what would typically be any other kind of company or I guess what am I trying to say? Like you would have a golf retreat, men with a good bunch of guys together, and we're all C-suite guys. We're gonna go play golf, right? Your guys are
Yes.
just sitting around having an opportunity to kind of network, right?
Mhm.
And communicate and do the things that'll help to move the business forward. I was thinking, we had this. I did this Veterans Day with the cannabis gals down here in Las Vegas, and there was something that had come up I just read, and it was kind of an unfortunate statistic. I heard that there was an article that came out that said that we were having less women in impactful positions, that is upper management type of women in the cannabis industry. And I was thinking about that, trying to understand like what is the cause of that? I mean, I talked to somebody else on one of my podcasts about it, and it seems like maybe there's a couple things. First of all, the market cannabis kind of got flooded
Yes.
with a bunch of old boys. Hey, we're doing
Yeah,
cannabis.
that's
All right,
true.
bro.
That's true.
But then there was a little bit of attrition. I think there was some difficulty there, and I think mostly in California.
Yeah.
I can't say that for sure. I don't have any evidence to really back that up, but it seemed like there was a great deal of attrition from women in the cannabis space. Did you see that? Did you feel like that was happening too?
No, definitely. There's a lots of stories and situations that we hear of, or too, just how hard it is for women to raise capital in general, but also
Yes.
in cannabis. So a lot of them just couldn't,
Yeah.
keep up with it anymore. A lot of them just got tired and worn out. It's
Mhm.
as you know, it's a hard industry no
Exhausting.
matter what. But even
Yeah.
trying to build a business is really hard. And yeah, we definitely saw lots of women that were either leaving those positions, closing their companies down,
Yeah.
re-looking at things. There's quite a few friends I have right now who were like, I'm not gone forever, but I need to go get, my life in order
Yeah.
again because they've just been hit so
Charge,
hard.
recharge the batteries,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Holy crap. Yeah,
yeah.
growth. This has been. I think I was kind of thinking the other day that I'm not sure where we're at exactly, but I feel like we're in the bubble point, like the breaking point, for some aspects of cannabis. Maybe not total from a global market, but definitely in the United States, we're seeing a kind of a settling. But I was thinking about. I had a thought in my head. Now I lost it. Great, way to go. But the point I think really that was concerning was that we were seeing attrition, but you're seeing that everywhere. You're seeing this kind of problematic situation, and then when you were talking about funding, that hits home to me because I mean, demographically, I should be able to get money.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I fit the freaking bill. I should be the guy. I can't get money. I just can't do it because of cannabis. So, and then you throw any kind of further blockade into that, and then you can just imagine how difficult it gets. And modern business runs on capital infusion, right? Because
Exactly.
let's be realistic. We're not building, mom and pop shops. It's not like you open your door and you sell X to your neighbors. We have massive marketplaces, and you have this reach that you have, and you have this marketing. You have to have this much bigger thing to make these work. Well, that takes all this capital, and I don't think that a lot of people really understand what it takes to run a machine like that. You build this really big machine, and you need this fuel. You've got this great engine, you got this great opportunity and the great ability. You need to keep putting fuel into it to keep it moving down the road. As you're starting, there's nothing coming in,
No, exactly, exactly.
and everything that's coming out is out of you. You're sweating it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
exactly.
So, I
Well,
mean,
and
it
that's
eats everybody, but especially, I mean, I saw that was kind of really detrimental to women, and I was kind of wondering what your thought was on it because again, I have no idea.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But I see the pressures in the industry itself.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the biggest things too that really came to this. As we continue to grow Blunt Brunch, is that's what our goal is. That's why we were focusing around women executives, because if we're like we can provide them a safe space to come together to empower them, that our hopes is that they can go take that energy and put it back into put it back into
Yeah.
the community, put it back into the
Yeah.
industry, help other women to lead up to those executive or leadership positions or apply, or
Yeah.
sometimes as we know, word of mouth is great or referrals are great.
Mhm.
So um that's really what we're trying to do, even if it helps in a small way. Like that's amazing. That's what we're trying to do with Blunt Brunch. But yeah, it's
Well, it
really
has
hard.
to be. It has to
Yeah,
be helping. It has to. I'm telling you the dirty little secret. Business is done in those environments. That's where it's
yeah,
always done. And men know this. That's why they do these stupid things, these stupid
yeah,
golf trips and these stupid events. They go and then, you go and you spend all this time and energy and you go out there and really what you're doing is you're networking and connecting,
yeah,
and then you're making opportunity. And then as opportunities, there'll be one person in the group who goes, I saw these four opportunities, they belong together. And they go,
that's
you and you need to get together. You need to talk because this thing's going
yeah,
to happen. And for
yeah,
you to be doing that for women, hopefully it'll have the same effect because I mean that's really kind of the core place where really interesting business deals happen. I think. Um,
yeah, yeah.
outside of that, I mean, it's just trying to sell shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bigger mission's there, but yeah, it's about that. So we have we're doing our next national event in Los Angeles, so that's going to be exciting, and
That's great. When
we're
is that going to be?
so that's going to be July 27th. This now almost this month, tomorrow
Yeah.
in a month. Then we're going to be in Phoenix in September, and then we'll end again in Vegas. So during Cannabis
Wonderful.
Week, we'll do another one. A big event as well. So we're gonna
Well,
end every year in Vegas. That'll be good.
I mean, I don't know if we can, but we'd love to sponsor when
Yeah.
you're here in Vegas. I mean, I'm, I can send my brightest employee. She would
Yes.
be a wonderful addition.
Yes.
She's my process manager. She does all of our process implementation and structure for the company. She's absolutely brilliant.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, but we'd love to be a part of it,
Yeah,
to support you
definitely.
guys. I don't know if you guys do that. I don't know how that works. We haven't talked about
Yeah.
that. But anyway, if you
No, it
do,
depends. We need, yeah, there's sponsorships. We'd love to partner with brands that are allies that believe in the mission and
yeah,
vision and what we're
absolutely.
doing. So yeah, that's that.
Sure.
We'll definitely continue the conversation on that, and and that's what I love to also see is going back to like when even just talking to other people. It doesn't have to be just women. People
Yeah,
ask, how do I get in the industry? And
yeah,
it's really just focusing on what they're good at. Like your processing manager, like that's an
yeah,
amazing role. She doesn't, and maybe she started in a different role in the industry, but finding what you're good at and bringing it here, bringing
yeah,
that knowledge,
yeah.
is definitely key still.
Well,
So
it's so essential. I mean, this is the thing that we see all the time.
yeah,
Cannabis companies have kind of, it's different now, but initially they came out of people who were really, good at cultivation, right? That was kind of the heart and soul of it.
yeah,
Well, now we're seeing that these are businesses, and
yeah,
so you need the business layers, right? You need the CFOs, you need the CEOs, you need the COOs, and you're like, what the hell? This thing gets heavy fast on the top end. You're like, oh my god! But that's what you need, because that's the kind of people that you have to have, that kind of talent you have to maintain this proper structure of company in these environments, right? You can't just be a farm. Really, it doesn't really function that way. Even as a farm, which a lot of Northern California companies are, you still need to have process. You still need to have organization. You still need to have marketing. You still need to have sales. You still need to have,
exactly.
so it just doesn't stop with like, oh well, I grow good cannabis, so I'm going to be okay. It was like that. It's not
It
like that
was.
anymore. You have
Yeah.
to have all this other stuff. So, people from all walks of life in other industries can absolutely walk in here, especially now.
Yeah.
I
No.
think, you can walk in with marketing, or a process, or management, or leadership, or labor at, at any level, and walk into the industry because it's very, very mature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know about mature.
It's getting there. It's in its teenager phase, maybe. It
Yeah,
rebels a
yeah,
little bit.
maybe.
It gets
Yeah,
attitude.
yeah, right at
Yeah.
the really bratty point of teenager.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Because
Right.
I think that's the thing too, though, as you bring this up, like specifically with California, and I don't know if other states see it or know it, and maybe I'm sure they are paying attention, but California definitely made some mistakes in hurting
Yeah.
a lot of these brands, with all
Oh,
these
they.
taxes and,
Hmm.
as you're saying, all these dollars, like I've spoken to quite a few of them. I went to the Emerald Cup Awards, and, they're like, we're hurting, we're in the
Yeah.
red, like, and we
Yeah.
need marketing, we need this, we need that, but it's
Hmm.
like, how much more can we put ourselves in debt just to like sell, like sell their
Yeah.
flower? Like
Right.
it's so
A
crazy.
commodity that the bottom has fallen out on.
Yeah.
And I was on a panel with Ed Rosenthal, who
Wow.
I have an endearing amount of respect for Ed
Yeah,
Rosenthal for,
definitely.
for what he's done, but he has a really different vision for what's happening, and he's like, no one's going to grow cannabis in California. It's too
Really?
expensive,
Yeah, well there we
because
go.
all cannabis is going to be grown in, you know, Arizona, New
Yeah.
Mexico. That's where it's going to be grown. It's not going to be grown in California. I'm like, God, Ed, you're so negative, man. But the government has not helped that environment. But California's government is really bad against, bad about supporting small business anyway. They kind of think like money grows on trees, and so we just take all the money and don't worry about it. And we can give people free money, we can do free things for everyone, but free is never free. Someone's actually paying that bill, and
Exactly.
so they've really damaged cannabis, and they've made it so counter productive for a company to be engaged in the business of cannabis from the taxation standpoint. And then the market has moved to the point where no one wants outdoor cannabis anymore. You
Yeah.
have to have a minimum light depth, and so you're missing this whole historical cannabis thing is dying, and it's dying on the vine, as it were, but it's dying fast. And when you go, because we went on this last year, we went on uh, I took the RV up to Northern California and started talking to people like, what's going on? And they're just like, I don't know, man, but it ain't working anymore. And cannabis is down to 100, 200, $300 a pound, and they have to spend $150 a fucking pound to the government.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
It's
You
not
know?
making sense.
That
Exactly.
doesn't make any sense.
No,
That's
not at
that's
all.
not fair.
Mm.
So
And that's the
yeah,
good stuff. I love outdoor flower. Like I am totally that person
right.
that loves outdoor flower, and it's so hard to get good quality. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I
there.
mean, if you go up there, it's there. But the
Yeah.
thing is, like, everybody, when you see it in that environment, it is what it is. It's different, right? Everybody's very used to seeing something that's highly manicured and very tightly controlled and in an indoor environment, and have these massive brands, not to point any fingers at them, who do magnificent marketing nationally. They're national marketing brands who market their stuff in every market, and their stuff does not look like what you get in Northern California.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like they're
No.
kind of like, what do we do, man? We can't, that's the power of the marketing beast. It has created the ideal flower, just
Yeah.
as we have with men and women and ideal physiques and stuff like that. Is they've done that with the flower. Now you have this ideal and it looks like this, and people are like, well, it should look like that, and if it doesn't, then it's wrong.
And it's
And it's
yeah.
just like, yeah, you guys, yeah, you're missing the point. So anyway, so that's a little rabbit hole, but I think it's important to know that the industry is changing, and yeah, California's horrible about business, and you left. You're probably doing much better. We are. When I left, I made money for the first time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what that's just money?
Right?
This is so
Yeah.
cool.
I know, right? Like this, yeah, I mean, I'll go, I don't know if I'll go back and live in California. I always go back and visit, but again, like you said, it was
Yeah.
that immediate, and two, just like, wow, like, especially for us, like, because, to be honest, like, we were still having multiple side jobs in San Diego, like, just to
Yeah.
live. And so
Yeah,
to
just to
live,
live. Right.
yeah,
You're struggling on every aspect, and every opportunity you have to make money you're using, and you're like, God, I'm just banging my head against the wall and I'm not getting anywhere. I
exactly.
mean, I sold everything equipment wise in my company,
Wow.
moved to Vegas, bought all brand new equipment, and that first year had a fuck ton of money, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm rich. I'm not. Don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
any ideas. But for a minute there, I was like, holy shit, this is how it is in Vegas. This is great. And it was such a relief,
Yeah,
to not have to be, God, are we going to make it this month? We're not going to make it this month.
exactly.
Where are we at? We're struggling here. We got to get through this. We got to get through that. And that was just too much for me, man. So it's nice to
Yeah,
get out of there. My wife and I love California. We go
yeah.
we go and visit, Napa and stuff, and
Oh,
and
nice.
uh, and she loves the beaches out there. But
Not to live, yeah.
no,
That's how I feel. I'm like, I have land, I have property here, like we have a house, we have a yard.
yeah,
Like what
yeah,
I'm paying here is nothing compared to what I paid in San
right.
Diego, and it was small. So it's just an interesting, yeah. I'm very excited I'm very happy to move here, and just the landscape. It was interesting moving here too because they just turned recreational, so it was almost like, back in maybe like 2012 in California,
Yeah,
from the event side of things, from
yeah,
like just the way the cannabis industry is. And, I know they're going through some changes here, and I just hope that they can utilize, learn from California of what not to do,
right,
and
right.
and always keep in mind the patients. They're very medical driven here, and I like that. And
Good.
I just hope
Yeah.
that as they continue to change into recreational, they don't forget the patients. Those are the ones that were hit in California, and
Yeah.
they're the ones that helped pave the way for this, for the
That's
plant.
that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that was the tip of the spear, right? That broke the bubble and got the whole thing
Yep.
to open up, and
Yeah.
and you know, you wonder if that's going to go away and people are
Yeah.
going to start to ignore that, but hopefully they don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the problem with it is when you make it a recreational, you do change the rules.
You do
You
have,
change
yeah,
how people
exactly.
perceive it, and everything gets changed, and then you do run the risk of the quality management that you had put in place around medical. So but yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're still waiting for the great legalization from the feds. Who knows what that's going to do to the whole market. I think I
That's
think
true.
that's going to be interesting, because that's going to change the way that the commodity is transported and moved from state to state, and that's going to change markets completely. I mean, you saw it this year, with Oklahoma. Is it Oklahoma
Hmm.
that's like growing the shit out of the weed right now, man?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, guess what? New York isn't buying, not buying California weed right now. That's for sure, because
yeah, yeah.
Oklahoma's in the middle.
Well, and that's the
So
thing too, because New York came out. There's like, many of those states, not states, counties in New York that were like, we don't want this grow. We don't want, we don't want
yeah,
farms here. We don't want that smell. So it is the perfect way if we had the intercommerce between the state. I can't,
yeah.
intercommerce?
Interstate commerce. Yeah,
Interstate
perfect. You
commerce.
got
There
it.
we go.
Nailed it.
Yeah, happening, like you said, legally happening from Oklahoma. I mean, right now, however they're getting it,
Yeah.
whatever. But eventually, it'll hopefully be more. It'll be in the legal route of what they envision it to be.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're hoping to see. But again,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see because I mean commodities are an interesting thing anyway. You don't see this kind of competition in other commodities. A, because there aren't state borders sitting around them holding them
Yeah.
in place, and B, the value of the commodity is so high. But we're seeing that change, right? Because you're seeing the massive production ability of companies to do this in a high quality manner, and you're seeing that pressure push down that value point. And I honestly don't know how indoor companies are gonna survive because of the
Yeah.
cost, and I don't know how outdoor strictly outdoor are going to survive. I think it's all going to be hoop houses and greenhouses and supplemental light and all that stuff. I think that's where you're gonna see the most bang for your buck, and that's where you're probably gonna see the biggest producers. I mean, some of the largest producers in the world are doing that. I mean, if you look at like Copper State Farms up in, I think they're in Canada,
That's
but you
true.
see these they're so massive, and they're all indoor, and they're just crushing, pumping out 2 to 5,000 pounds a day, and you're like, what in the
Yeah.
fuck? How do they
Crazy.
do this, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
They
none of
have.
it. They're not having all that overhead and the lights. I mean, they have lots of labor, but
Yeah. No, they do have one of their facilities here in Arizona, a little bit further, but yeah, they do have, like you're saying, the huge
yeah.
greenhouses and whatnot. I guess from your guys' end, where are you guys seeing the biggest like new push, or I guess new, like, yeah, state that's coming on? Like, is
Well,
there?
so I mean, yeah, I mean, all the states are popping up, and we're seeing that. But the thing is, like, the sector for us, um, if you look at harvesting
Yeah.
specifically, it's down 53% last year.
Okay.
Now we're
Yeah.
we're not down that far,
Yeah.
but that's sector wide. So when you look at the retailers, right,
Yeah.
we're we used to do 1 million, 2 million, 3 million in retail. We don't do that anymore, right? So that's a stack of revenue that I don't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
The retailers are not buying machines. It's too much money to sit on the shelf and wait, and they're not selling. So you're
Yeah.
like, well, what do we got to do to get around that? So we're continuing to push our company into development of better product,
Yeah.
with more capability, more functionality for our customer. And we think that automation is the end game for it. So we're pushing that direction as hard as we can. And then
Yeah.
we're looking, we're a manufacturing company, so I'm manufacturing for other people. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, I mean, this is how it is right now. And until if this,
Yeah.
decides to turn back, then that'll be great. We'll be back on it. I mean, we still do great business. I mean, we're still doing, we'll still do $8 to $10 million this year in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in our core stuff. But it's not that hockey stick trajectory we were pointing to, in 20 in COVID year 2020.
Yeah.
We did 15. So I mean, that's like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's not just your sector of the industry. It's all areas
It
of the
is.
industry.
It
It's a
is.
rippling effect. You're seeing, because again, for who you work
Mhm.
with and everything. So this will definitely be an interesting, next few years.
Yeah.
As,
Well, you're
as
seeing
everything.
consolidation too, right? I mean, you're seeing these companies, and we have conversations. We're selling some really high value stuff. We have a great cone stuffer now. It's just an amazing machine. But we're selling, these are very high value items. And what you're getting in
Yeah.
these conversations with people, they're like, yeah, we want to be there. We can't because we're getting our bottom line right because we're
Yeah.
right for acquisition. So they're trying to make sure that their numbers are as strong as they can be when when that check
Yeah.
comes in,
Yeah.
and then, so we're expecting kind of like this consolidation thing to happen. And then we'll see these companies going, okay, well, we need to do the McDonald's thing, whereas like get everything to be very consistent across platforms. And we see that as being a next big opportunity for us. So we're going kind of pushing in that direction. But again, when companies are saying, well, we're going to hold on to cash,
Yeah.
and they don't have credit, which is another huge problem, as you know.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
we get caught in the squeeze. So, yeah, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been through this before. Although the last time was I think when Trump came in. We always look at administrative changes suck. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
who gets into office, man. Everybody goes, ah, you know, fuck off.
Yeah.
Can
That's
we
so
just do
true.
business, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't let this stuff affect
Yeah,
us.
just leave that shit over there. I promise
Yeah.
you, it's not gonna affect anything. Don't worry about it.
That's
Anyway,
interesting though. Yeah, with that, like with Trump. Hmm.
so and we're not. I mean, like we're. I was gonna ask you a little bit about because you know Event High and doing the
Yeah.
events because we're seeing like I'm not. I have no desire to ever go to a trade show again in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Been through
And
a
so
lot. We've been to many.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like because it's usury. Like these people, um, I pay. You know, we pay $60 a square foot in
Yeah.
cannabis. You know what they pay for the biggest shows, the biggest automotive shows? $25. The biggest shows in Vegas, $25 a square foot. They're charging 60 fucking dollars because we're
Wow.
cannabis. Yeah, right.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I just want to go and squeeze their necks and get
Yeah.
my money back. But you know, we still feel obligated to go to this to the big one. And
Yeah.
I'm like, God, man, you know, we're gonna spend 100 grand, 150 grand. Um, you know, and last year when we did it, we just really didn't see that return. You know,
Yeah.
historically we have, but like
Yeah.
last year there was one day of the show that was good. It was the first day of all days, which was the weekday, and the weekend days sucked. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be surprised if they got 20,000 people through that system. I doubt they did that. They think they think they sold more than that, but I'd be surprised if we saw 15,000 people. It was empty,
It
and
was empty. I
it was
remember
empty,
walking.
you know,
Yeah.
and we still spent that amount of money. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just go to PACX?
Yeah.
Guess what PACX charges? $25. And I can, huh? No shit.
Yeah.
Let's go to PACX and just tell everybody we're going to be there. But the problem is, you know, and also the quality of customers coming in last year wasn't the same. Like, it's not focused. It used to be focused on equipment more. Um,
Yeah.
Now you have all these companies doing all these things, and the people who are coming in, you know, there's a small section of them that wanted equipment,
Yeah.
which is fine, but give them to me first. Like, don't dilute the whole system and make
No.
me have to compete for attention with people who are going by and going, "Ooh, what's that, man? Ooh, that's cool." Yeah, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we talking business or are you just
Yeah, yeah,
admiring?
because
Like,
if you're just yapping, I gotta go, man. I got other things
yeah,
to do.
exactly.
You know. So, but
Yeah.
back to Event High. So, I mean, would you guys see yourself? I mean, what kind of events do you see yourselves doing? Anything like that, like trade events, like big events like that?
So our goal is to definitely work with a lot of those event organizers. We personally wouldn't be producing those kind of events, but
Mm,
our goal is to get there. You know, we currently are in public beta, so we don't have all the bells and whistles as some of our, you know, mainstream ticketing platforms do yet, but
right.
we're about to get out of beta. We're going to be launching our V1, which is the next phase of offering new features and development, and we do have a
Cool.
pretty strong roadmap of where we expect to go. And you know, I think with those new features that we'll be announcing, hopefully end of this year, we'll then be able to approach these bigger events. So
Yeah.
it, you know, for us, it's, you know, we want to work with all event organizers, big and small. They can
Sure.
host from festivals to conferences to expos to women events. You know,
Yeah.
it's again just being able to continue to bring people together, because all these different events, they educate in their own way. Even
Sure.
sessions educate
Sure.
people, you know, they all
Yeah.
dinners, they all educate people in some
Yeah.
sort of way. So that's our biggest focus, is, you know, just trying to get there to work with those bigger event organizers. Until then, we continue to work with all sizes and you know, further our relationships with them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, give me a little bit more understanding of what it is that Event High is doing. Like, what's your functional business model?
Yeah. So we are a ticketing marketplace, very similar to Ticketmaster or
Oh,
Eventbrite.
okay.
So people can go to Event High if they are an event goer and search our platform for different types of events.
Okay.
If they are a event host, they would go to our platform and then they could create an event page to sell tickets and sponsorships.
Okay.
And then we have a third sector, which is brands. So we have a marketplace for brands to shop for sponsorship opportunities as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So we're hoping that will continue to grow because we also hear from brands, and we know that they get hounded by
Yeah.
event organizers, and sometimes it's hard to funnel through the
Yeah.
noise or figure out what's right for them.
Are you collecting any metric on like what the response to events is? Because honestly, this is the biggest thing. I'm going to go to an event, and I'm like, okay, what's your expected, what's your sales look like? How many people are you expecting? And they're giving you this, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, wait a minute, time out. I need a real number here because you're asking me to come up with real money,
Yeah,
and I need to understand if that real money is going to translate into real money back. And
exactly.
in some instances, I'm pretty sure it's not going to,
Yeah,
but I can't tell. And so
yeah.
is there any, because that metric, I mean, that's huge for me. For me,
Mhm.
that would be great to be able to get that from a not an event
Or
connected person, but somebody who's a little bit third party to be like, yeah, we're seeing this kind of ticket movement for this event. This is gonna, that would be huge for my marketing team to be like, hey, look, they got 10,000 tickets sold. It looks like we can spend the money on this, that kind of thing. But right now, it's like guessing. You're listening to the sales guy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
his numbers are not your numbers.
Well, and so that's we can't necessarily have a. I mean, I'd have to see on that level, but
Yeah,
what we can do is kind of we're looking at doing white papers of where we can say, the average ticket cost is like more about
yeah.
general data.
Mm.
I think there's ways down the road where we could probably get more specific if event organizers sign up and allow us to share their data
Yeah.
specifically. But right
Well,
now,
I mean, if are people if they're buying through you also, I mean, you would have, because I think there's got to be some correlation, right? So like once you've reached a certain, I mean, this is how they do polling, right?
yeah,
They call 100 people and they
yeah,
go, oh, the national 75% of people say this, and you're like, 75%, 75 out of that 100 people you talk to, but the numbers have really come out long term to be fairly accurate,
yeah,
right? So I mean, that would be interesting to know because you could probably do some projections. Like we're seeing a push here. When you sell 10% of their tickets, okay,
yeah,
we could extrapolate
yeah,
what
yeah.
that what that's
No,
looking like.
exactly.
I don't know.
But even too, like right now, what
I'm being
we're
wishful thinking.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's where we would definitely love to go. Once we
Yeah,
scale the team, we'll have somebody who can focus really more on the data. Because when our CTO, he tells us all these little data stats, and we geek out, but we're like, what can we share? Like, how much can
yeah,
we really share? Like right now.
yeah.
But we are able to also look at the landscape of like what kind of events are people going to, which is really
Yeah.
interesting to see that change. After
Well, that's
COVID,
important too. I mean,
exactly.
to be honest, I mean that's important too because, just because this event has space for me to put my equipment doesn't mean it's appropriate. There may be
Exactly.
better events where I can just have a banner, I can sponsor some giveaway, I can
Yeah.
put some value of my logo,
Yeah.
yay, all over somewhere, and have that and have people attending. And that might be a better opportunity for me. But
Exactly.
there's no collating that information, and everybody's still in this really competitive space as far as their events go. They're not really talking. They're not sharing that information. They're certainly not giving it to me. They're giving me the runaround. I get
Yep.
like I said, I get the funny numbers.
Yep.
Like the big one here in Vegas. They're like, oh well, we had 39,000, and I'm like, yeah, you did in 2019.
Yeah.
That was now you aren't probably going to get it for the next 5 years. I mean, are we ever going to get back there? I don't know. Thanks again for joining the Industry Born podcast. Next time you're at the Green Bros website, you can use the promo code IBP5 for an additional 5% off of your shopping cart, or mention the Industry Born podcast to your sales representative for additional discounts.
I don't know. That one is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like there have been, like you said, 2019. Before that, very valuable connections and leads, and I'll
yeah,
give them the benefit too. Maybe it was because of the impact of COVID. A lot of
sure,
people didn't go.
sure.
That could also be a big play on it, and we'll see. I do have
Yeah,
plans to attend this year and kind of see how it is going. Just because, again, like I felt the same thing you did last year. It was
yeah.
just off. It was a
It was
weird
just
vibe.
off, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
So
vibe was off.
we'll see
There's a
how
lot
it
of
goes.
money out there. I mean, we put a lot of money in it. A lot of companies did. FabTech. So FabTech is the largest machine shop equipment manufacturer, fucking Fiesta, right? So the FabTech does an interesting thing. They do Vegas, Atlanta, uh, Chicago, Atlanta, Vegas, Atlanta, Chicago, Atlanta. So
Oh,
they
interesting.
every year they're somewhere else. So they do one a year,
Oh,
and it'll be in Vegas, and then it won't be back for Vegas for 3 years. Um,
oh,
but it's
wow.
in Atlanta every other year. I think it's Atlanta. It's the other. It's
Yeah.
either Chicago or Atlanta is the every other year, and so it goes between those three, and it's fucking massive. Like it's a massive, massive show, and there are so many people, and these machines are huge. I mean, when you come out to the shop, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Massive pieces of equipment that do all this work, and this event, and they don't pay anything like we do in cannabis, but the event is, everybody knows, like that's the event, right? You go there, but you're not going there because you're wanting to learn how to do anything. You're going there to look at machines. Like
Okay.
you're going to buy,
Just it.
you need help in fabrication. You're looking at fabrication equipment,
Yeah.
from X to Z to A to B, whatever. It's all there. And that's what that is all about. And in this, if you're taking this big, huge event, and you're saying, well, we're going to put all this together to have this huge event, you're killing me because at the cost of tickets, I don't get a focused audience, right?
Yeah.
And I'm spending all that money to be there and competing against people or trying to get attention from people who are looking at vape cartridges.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is, or getting business seminars or opening, it's just not even, it doesn't make any sense. And we're getting to that point, I think, where we need to have, it could be a lot smaller show,
Yeah,
but it needs to
exactly.
be
But it's
this
specific.
is equipment only show.
Yeah.
Like, bam, that's it. And here's your cannabis business show, opportunities, franchises, branding, marketing, that's that show.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine, but give me a
I mean,
break, man.
either you'll give them an idea or somebody else watching will take that because you're right. That's really what needs. How many growers I heard from last year that were just like the timing again. It's
Yeah.
off. We want to be there. We can't be there. We need to
Yeah.
go see, do business. But
I'm sorry. This is the most busy time of the year. It needs to be in July.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, in a nice area where everybody would want to visit, and then
Yes,
you can all do
July
business
in,
together.
somewhere where it's not so hot. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Not Arizona. Don't come here.
Not Vegas. Yeah,
Yeah.
not Arizona. Right. I don't even know where you go in this country in July, but there's got to be some place. Washington,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
Anyway.
But it does. I don't, did they ever have a specific, I mean, besides that, the big one, was there any other people who tried to have a specific like expo for machinery and
I have not seen one, and
yeah.
I've thought about doing it myself.
You
I
have a
don't
lot.
like
You
my,
got to run your
I don't want,
business.
I don't want to give my other guys an opportunity to make money. I don't
Yeah,
want to
you
get the competition in here.
got
But I think, honestly, I think something like that could do very well. And so I keep thinking about, and actually I think what's happening, and PACX is a good example. They have started breaking off a section that's a cannabis section.
Okay.
So, that show is a much better place for
Yeah.
equipment because that's
Oh,
all it
interesting.
is. Yeah, it's all packaging and processing equipment. Now, and
Ah,
and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that's about for people like me or equipment manufacturers where you can buy electronics and buttons and safety things and all these things you can put in your equipment. So there's that kind of section, but it has this total different vibe about it.
huh.
And it's pretty massive. It's a pretty massive show. It takes up both halls over here, but
That's good.
I think, and we've talked about it many times because it's a lot cheaper for me, to be honest with you. The
Yeah.
question is, will I get the pull in there? And I think that I think honestly, we'd probably get as much if we could just, push the marketing in that direction.
Yeah.
I actually almost didn't go this year to the show. And if this show this year is anything like last year, I'll never go to another one.
Yeah.
We would just not do it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
It's actually cheaper for me to fly people here and
I
show
was
them
gonna
my
say
stuff
you
in
can
my
do
shop.
tours at them. Yeah, while they're in
Yeah,
town, you can just have
yeah.
everybody come.
Correct.
know?
And I can spend time with them and they get individual attention. It's so much more. I mean, imagine like in 2019 we spent 100 and $215,000 on that show.
Yeah.
Imagine how many tickets how many people you could fly out here for that. You know?
Exactly. And were you already in Vegas? Yeah, you were already in Vegas during that time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that wasn't even shipping costs. That was literally you're in
That was me.
Vegas.
That was our booth
Doing it.
cost. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
that's a big.
It cost us nothing because we actually had to stand in line to get our shit in there, but that was it. Yeah, it was all
See, so
cost of
imagine
booth.
if.
We had a massive booth. We went all out, and it was a great year for us. I mean, it was it was a lot of fun. But after that, it's like I think this has reached its limit
Yeah.
for us, and
Yeah.
we're putting so much more energy online and stuff like that. That's why I'm asking you because I think there's an intimacy that we don't get in these
Yeah.
events, and it would be nice to have an event that was more intimate, right? Had my people, the people that are looking for me or people like me, that we can communicate to. Of course, that's everybody's dream. I get that, but it's just too big in cannabis, and that show is too much stuff, and there's not enough people. You put those 40,000 people back in there, yep,
Then it'll be.
okay. But
Yeah.
also they charge $500
It's
for a
insane.
guest.
Yeah.
For a guest.
Yeah.
I don't pay for tickets to companies that are courting me to
Yeah.
buy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like I go to FabTech, I get a ticket. The guy's like, "Hey man, you want to go?" Oh, or they'll call, "Hey, here's a plane ticket. Here's a ticket to the show.
What
Come
about
see us at
CES?
the booth."
CES is free. Like I
Yeah.
think up until like a month. I know that the Consumer Electronics Show they don't charge you until like if you sign up a month before, then it's like $100. But
Yeah.
like as long as you're in that industry, again that whole I think MJ Unpacked does that too. You have to apply, show your
Yeah.
business card, show what you
Yeah.
do, and then
I think
you get
MJ Impact is an interesting opportunity.
yeah
We did something with them last year. Oh my God. They need organization is what they need. I mean, they could do very well if they just
yeah.
had organization. We gave them a machine to the Last Prisoner Project, right? Like a
Oh wow.
$15,000 gift
Yeah.
for them to auction. So it's
Wow.
100% and no energy, no announcement, nobody even knew it was fucking being auctioned. We're walking around, where is it? What's going on? No marking around it at all. We're like, live it. Like I'm
Yeah.
not giving you this machine so that you can give it away for $500 because no one knew it was here. That's
Yeah.
dumb, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we ended up doing the marketing. We did the push, and we
Oh.
got some attention on it. It ended up, somebody got a great deal. They got it for like 11 or 12 grand, which is fine. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that like that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Why aren't you exploiting that?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the organizational issue. And it's just, it's so much work. That events are fucking crazy. You got so much to deal with. And then you're dealing with something like that where you're being a sponsor of a major, charitable thing in this industry. That's hard enough as it is,
Yeah.
But the charity wasn't even involved. Like you would expect the people from the charity to be jumping up and down. Don't forget to bid on your machine, blah, 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 but they didn't mention anything about anything. And then I think we saw Belushi introduced him at the Blues Brothers show and, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and those are the things hopefully they like event organizers learn from, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that we actually took advantage of during COVID was trying to educate event organizers, to prepare them for getting back into doing events or even
Yeah.
to at that time, maybe hosting virtual events was a really big topic, but that made us realize like we can help in a way. We can on our end as EventHi, we can help educate them and how to produce better events. Like, because one
what?
bad event could really judge the whole industry.
Oh,
If somebody did something.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I think, for me, now that I'm dependent on my 3 people marketing team
Yeah.
to go out and figure out what events are valuable.
Yeah.
What can you get, so they got to go collect historical metrics, blah, blah, blah. We got to try and figure that out. But that doesn't give you anything. It just tells you attendees.
Yeah.
How many of those what were those attendees? What were they doing? What were their job titles?
Yeah. That's
Where are they
true.
coming from? How many of them are new in business? How many of them are established in business? How many of them were looking for my equipment? I have none of this data, nothing, right? So and then I'm paying the premium highest prices I could possibly pay to be involved in this event. And I have no idea if I'm going to have one person or 10
Yeah.
or 100, and it just doesn't make any sense. So if I could say, hey guys, call EventHi,
Yeah.
talk to them, just find out what shows make sense for us. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah.
I'd pay you for that happily.
Yeah. Well, that will be definitely something that, as we gather more information, as we work
Yeah,
with more events, I think that we could really start to, again, put some information together and figure out a way we can do it to where we're
yeah.
still respecting
I mean,
our
listen. I think a lot of companies would do this with you. Would share
yeah,
some certain information. I mean, I would share with you our conversion rate from
yeah,
any event. You
yeah,
know, say like, yeah, we got 10 sales out of that event. You know, whatever. I'll be happy to do that. That to me would, because that's going to benefit everybody that's shopping for these events. And I don't
that's
care
for
if the
sure.
competition understands that or not.
Yeah.
Um, that doesn't bother me, right? But I just, it's frustrating to me to be in a situation where, because it's cannabis, I'm being extorted and
Hmm.
taken advantage of, because everybody thinks cannabis is endless money.
Yeah.
You know, just like California, they think it's endless money, and it
Yeah.
really isn't.
Yeah. I just saw an article. So in Lakeside, they're now talking about allowing cannabis, but right away the guy was like, "And we're gonna tax them, and we're gonna do this. We're going highball, and we're getting all of it." Like, literally, just
Yeah,
saying this in this interview, like, "We're gonna take all their money," like
yeah,
happy about it.
yeah,
Like, what money? They don't have money. You're gonna
yeah.
take like come
You can't
on.
fucking get water out of a rock, bro. It doesn't work.
Like, I don't get it. It's like beating a nail in a drum. They think it's
Yeah, it just doesn't make
different
sense. They continuously say the same thing, and you hear the mantra, and then people go get in business.
yeah.
Um, I
It's
had
like
a
false
really
advertising. People have
right,
high
right,
hopes.
exactly. I had a really interesting interview with someone who had a very successful business, ancillary business, and then is like, yeah, now I'm gonna get, I bought some licenses, and I'm gonna get into the grow business in the middle of California, and I'm like, what in the fuck?
No, yeah, yeah.
Why do you do
Please,
it?
yeah. Oh gosh,
God, like,
yeah.
God, forget it, man. No fucking way. No way I get into that side of this business, you know?
No,
Oh
no,
man.
exactly. Yeah, I'm happy where I'm at. I give them mad props for everybody that is in that sector and continuing to
Yeah,
work
I
through
mean, we
that
need
for
them,
us.
right? Good for them. You
Yeah,
know, we want them to be successful. We're on their side, and we're pulling for them, man. But
but I don't have the yeah.
mm-mm,
I thought I
no.
had the heart and go drive, and I do for for what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's great too. By the way, it shows your videos are great on it on the LinkedIn. You
Oh,
have such a great personality, and it's very attractive in the sense that it's very engaging, and it brings to me, it's like, oh yeah, there she is.
yeah.
Hey, and I hit like and I move on. I'm like, one of the people I like to see continues your content. So I think it's great. I think you're doing a wonderful job, and
Thank
and
you.
kudos to you for all of that hard work and sticking through it to get to here, because
Yeah.
it's not easy.
No, it's not, and we still have a long way to go. But at least we're again. I just keep celebrating. We made it this far. Once we launch
Yeah,
V1, then I'm going to be even more excited. And obviously, as new challenges, you release new things, new hurdles, or bigger opportunities come, but bigger
yeah,
learning lessons. But I'm ready for it. Whatever happens next for us,
good.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it's exciting. I mean, I think I see most of the stuff I see is your blunt brunch stuff. I think is what you
yeah,
have most of the stuff on there, which I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that's really cool. I'm really really happy to see that you be successful in that,
Thank
and
you.
I think that's really needed actually, in general, but in specific, it's very very important for the women's advancement in the industry. I think to have those kind of networking opportunities. I mean, the men, we have those. We network everywhere. So I mean,
Yeah,
don't it's definitely important. It's where a lot of business gets done, and then you find people that you're like, oh, hey, we need somebody. I know somebody.
exactly. That's
Let's
the
call
biggest
this
thing.
this person because she's got this skill set,
Yeah.
and I like her. So
And
that's
it's
a good start. Let's
happening.
do
Yeah,
that.
we're seeing it. We've gotten so many
Yeah.
messages of like, I went and I met this person and now they're helping me with X, or I got
Yeah.
a job in here now. So it's like
Yeah.
those little things are starting to come in fruition. And
Sure.
yeah, next year we'll be on the East Coast. Our nationals will be in New York. We're going to go to Florida.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
looking potentially at Seattle or another state, and then obviously Vegas will always be
Yeah.
on the map for us. But yeah, we're gonna do a little bit more focus on East Coast next year, because we
Great.
kind of stayed around over here closer to us to see how it would work. Like this is a
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me know. Send me information so I can see what we can do to sponsor and support you in that, because I'm absolutely a big fan, and I think it's a really cool thing that you're doing with that. And of course, I'm unabashedly branding myself and marketing myself, because that's what we have to do. But it's a great place to do that, and I think it's very valuable. So if you can support, something that you believe in, and it gets your name out, that's a great combination. So we'd love to do it.
Yeah, perfect. Well, yeah, well, we'll obviously stay in touch. My next Vegas visit, I'm gonna check out the GreenBroz
Yeah,
facilities. I
dude,
want
listen, you can come
person.
out anytime, whether I'm here or not. My son's always here. I don't know if you've ever met him, Isaac.
I don't know if I
He
have.
works
No.
for me now, but
Okay.
he probably not, because I think that last time he came out, he wasn't working for me. No, he wasn't. But then, and then I run into you at shows, so you wouldn't have seen
Yeah,
him there.
he's not
I
there.
don't think
Okay.
so. But anyway, there's always somebody here. I can make sure that get the full tour, and there's some people
Cool.
here I'd like you to meet. I definitely want
Yeah.
you to meet Jordan. She's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. That'd be
so
awesome.
it'd be good. And then
Yeah.
aside from that, best of luck and continued success.
Thank you.
It's exciting. I know I'll keep seeing your videos, and that's great. I'll keep hitting the little thumb button.
Yes, keep those
Uh,
like buttons.
that's right. That's right. I gotta I do my part, my one man
Yes.
part. All your data, like whatever you want, like for the splash, send a picture. We'll put the splash screen up, and then your contact information, not you, but your company's contact information, your Instagram, your handles, all that kind of stuff, right? We'll get that stuff on whatever you want to have.
Perfect.
Marco will get that, so just make sure you get that to him.
Okay.
And then, when it goes live, which shouldn't be too long, we'll send you a little note that says it's live.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, we'll include it in our newsletter and obviously promote
Awesome.
it on all of our channels too.
Great.
And yeah, that'll be great. I'll send that over. So a headshot, right? You said like a head or no?
Yeah,
Not
I
a
think that Marco
info.
should be popping on here again, but yeah, it's basically like your splash screen. So we usually do just it'll have a picture of like whatever you want. I don't care. It's
Okay.
not me. It's you. Whatever you want for the splash for your episode, put that on there. If you want you and your husband, you're married now, yeah? So
We're not yet, but we've been basically married. We're basically.
I know you've been together forever. I
Yeah,
thought you guys,
exactly.
I thought the last time we talked, maybe that's what you said. You were going to. That's good.
Yep.
Anyway, but maybe you guys or your company, whatever, one of your blunt
Okay.
brunches, it's fine. That's
Okay.
great. And then we'll put that as a splash, and then of course your Instagram, where people can find you and that kind of thing. And then
Perfect.
you know, I don't think there's anything that we talked about that would be problematic for for you.
No,
If
no.
there's something you think of, you just let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll cut it out.
No, I think it was great. We obviously didn't say the name of the big company, so that was, I think, the only
Yeah,
thing. Like if we said
yeah.
it, we probably
I
would have
try
had
not
issues.
to.
Yeah, I know. We're both like, the one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big one.
the one guy. That's right.
So I think we're good there. But no, I think it was all valuable
Yeah,
information.
it's
And
funny. I had a podcast with a guy the other day, and he was so funny. He's like, we were talking at the end where I'm like, dude, are you a car guy? And he's like, yeah. I said, I just started watching F1. He's like, oh man, I love F1. Yeah, blah blah blah. And he's like, what did he say? He said, I met Lewis Hamilton, and I don't know if you know who he is. He's an 8-time world champion F1 driver, right?
okay.
Great kid. And he's like, yeah, I danced with his mom. I'm like, listen to the story. He goes, yeah, I guess that was my opportunity to break his legs. And I'm like, to an F1 guy, you're like, oh yeah, knock the guy out. But
Yeah.
in a general perspective, you're like, don't say break
Don't say
Lewis
that.
Hamilton's legs.
Yeah. No. Oh
I don't know if
gosh.
we edited that out or not. Did we, Marco? Because probably not.
Like,
He's smiling. No, I doubt he did. It's in there. So yeah, every once in a while something comes out that you don't want to have.
yeah.
Oh my God. So thank you, Adelia, for joining. It was really a pleasure catching up. I've had it's been such a great adventure for both of us, I know, and it's good to see you all the time that we interact, and it's good to see you being successful. So thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you. It's been a great conversation. I always enjoy our conversations and our catch-ups. It's good to see where everything's going and, just talk about the real stuff. So I had a great
Right.
time. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, and for those that want to get connected with me or with the EventHi team, you can visit www.eventhi.io. EventHi is HI at the end, like hi, hello. And if you are interested in connecting with our women empowered networking groups called Blunt Brunch, you can visit www.bluntbrunch.com. We'd love to connect with you all.
Yay.
Did it.
Thank you all for joining this week's podcast. You can check us out at GreenBroz.com and all the socials at GreenBroz.